course, the kind of detail they were looking for, especially for the AI agents, was missing in those sessions. And that's what this is all about. So we'll cover a bit more technical, bit more business application side of Microsoft agents to give you ideas like where you can implement that, and how you can maximize your AI potential and enhance your business opportunities through that. So moving quickly, just a few seconds, like who we are. We are solutions partner with Microsoft, or we used to be a gold partner. Now it's rebranded as solutions partner. Um, we have worldwide presence with more than 2,000 technical and certified resources around the globe. Have been working with Fortune 500 customers in almost all the fields, have many awards and partnerships across multiple technologies. Um, some of them you can see here. Today, I and my colleague Heather will cover some key aspects about um, Microsoft AI agents to give you a fair idea that what they can do, what they are. So first we will talk about like what Microsoft AI agents are, then we get into the anatomy of AI agents, Copilot extensibility we'll see, how triggers, topics, and actions work. Then we'll see some real world use cases of AI agents. And we have some hands-on labs for you that will have some basic AI agent working for you, a declarative agent working for you. After a break, we will talk about declarative agents with API plugins. And in the very end, we will just briefly see how you can jumpstart agentic AI journey in your organization. So let's get started. First, let's see that what AI agents are. So they are autonomous software programs that can perceive environment, make decisions, take actions based on triggers, input data, and achieve specific goals. So they are kind of similar, like we used to have, or we still have API calls to get certain things done. But the API calls are like um, more mechanical in how they are called and how they get you response back. While working with AI agents can have that mechanical aspect as well as have a human aspect in it, like we call a human employee or a human coworker to get things done for us. So this is how, in general, an AI agent works. So there can be like multiple channels through which a human can interact with it. And here you can see a few: text, audio, video. And when an AI agent gets input, it recognizes the input, it understands the input, it understands the semantic, and can perform reasoning on it, and can take assistance from other applications and other systems. It can be a web, uh, it can be general web, it can be public websites, it can be content within your enterprise, private content. It can be application systems such as your ERPs, and get a response created for you and sent back to you in all the same formats. So in general, there are many types of AI agents that we say, and some of them are already here, some of them are not yet. So when we say like there's a reactive agent, um, it's a basic level of AI agent that reacts to specific inputs without memory, without learning capabilities. So example could be a chess playing algorithm that responds to um, moves but lacks awareness of past game. So that is something that kind of we had for quite a few time. And now limited memory agents are there that which so AI that can use historical data or limited memory to improve responses and learn. So autonomous vehicles can be a good example for that, that learn from past data and enhance driving accuracy and safety. Um, Theory of mind agent are like uh, they are like hypothetical AI capability of understanding emotions, beliefs, and intentions, enabling more human-like interactions. So it is still in research and concept. Can we may start seeing it in really near future. And there is a highest version, you can say, the self-actualization version of AI agents, like self-aware agents. So these self-aware agents in future, when they will be available, they can hypothetically form a form of AI that would possess consciousness, self-awareness, and independent thought. So let's see. So what are Microsoft Copilot agents, or how does Copilot work as an AI agent? So this is something pretty recently announced by Microsoft, and it's an AI-powered assistant integrated into Microsoft's 365 applications, Power Platforms, and enterprise applications. It can also connect with your other business functions, business applications, ERPs, um, for content generation and data analysis. Uh, so this is something interesting, and we'll go deeper into this. So once you have these agents working within your organizations, uh, this is how it will look like. So you may have separate agents for your applications that you're using right now. Some examples are here, and you can ask in natural language or from other applications queries from all these applications. Like for Salesforce, you can ask like how many leads are open, or how many leads are assigned to me, what is the status of a particular lead or opportunity, uh, or ask to act on it, take some action, like email this content to this contact person within the CRM. So, and it can get things done for you on your verbal commands. Similarly, you can do certain things in ServiceNow, like you can get a list of incidents or summarize the topic of an incident, or the body of an incident. You can um, do similarly for change requests or tasks or anything that is these systems are handling, ServiceNow is handling. And you can take actions also, like you can ask it to make a request for you for a particular service or ITL request in the ServiceNow. It can raise it for you. Similarly, you can do all these actions in your ERPs, and you're coming. Lastly, you can not only generate communication or ask all these tasks from your regular business applications like Teams or Outlook, you can get responses on them also. So a human user can get things done through all these agents, just like your coworkers do things for you sometimes. You can ask your helpers in the form of AI agents to get things for you. For example, take a look at this HR agent. It has a knowledge base about your company policies, and it can answer questions around those areas that it has information about. It can be your HR's company books and the rules and regulations, whatever the HR has announced. You can get, or policies around like leaves or bonuses. Um, you can ask questions about that with this HR agent. Plus, it can interact with the information particular to you, like how many casual leaves do I still have for this year. So it can interact with the back office HR system and get this information for you. There are some other examples here you can see that you can do with that. And you can ask it to take actions. So let's suppose if I'm ill, I just open up my Teams on my mobile app as a mobile app and ask the Copilot agent to put my sick leave for today. And it can go ahead and do it for you in the required system for you. Here are some more examples just to give you more ideas. All right, now take a look at how Microsoft Copilot, or what is Microsoft Copilot actually is. So it of course has a out-of-the-box kind of connectivity available with all the Power apps and Microsoft apps, Office apps, and through natural language you can communicate to those apps or content within those apps. And definitely you can interact with the content on the internet using the same Copilot. The most interesting thing is having the Microsoft Graph data. What is graph data? So many of us have heard over the past few months, at least, I won't say years, because it's a recent technology, that LLMs like ChatGPT is good with language. It's a language model. It's good with data available in the human language, but it's not designed for structured data. So it's not good for your databases or your Excel spreadsheets by default. By bringing your structured data into Microsoft Graph, LLM can understand it better, and you can have questions around that data through this. And there are out-of-the-box graph connectors for many enterprise applications available now. And where they are not available, we can easily build them. So by bringing your enterprise data, your enterprise structured data into Graph, you can question on it through Copilot. So Copilot for Microsoft 365 can summarize chat conversations in Teams. It can draft emails. It can create meeting agendas based on the past meetings. It can draft project proposal based on the data from documents, spreadsheets. It can do all. It can like summarize a meeting or create minutes of the meeting in the end of the meeting. It can do a lot on those areas, along with your other enterprise needs. So the first thing is that the question people ask is how user will prompt, or how.
Asif, I think your mic is on mute.
All right, maybe I dragged something on my screen and that muted. I hope it was not for very long.
Yeah, no, just for thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, so
again, Asif, it is on mute again.
it's something happening by, I don't know, by itself. When I click on other applications, it is muting it. All right, maybe it's getting too smart. All right. Okay. So first thing, of course, we can prompt, and when a prompt goes like, what are the milestones for Project Falcon? Uh, First thing Copilot does is it tries to understand and the prompt and do some pre-processing and grounding that we call. So it understands the context and then picks up the content, email files, meeting chats, calendars, and contacts to get the answer for you as per your level of access, as well as per uh, your role. So it's not gonna give you answer that some probably if you're a project manager and you're asking this question, it should not give you the answer that a developer would get on asking the same question. So it will customize it for you. It will do some grounding, what fits best as a response for you, as per your role, as per your access level. And it will get it modified, it will feed it to the large language model and draft the best response for you. Once the response is back, it will again send it for post-processing and grounding layer of another level to make the response fit for you and best for you. Let's jump right away. Here are some other things you can see, like how it does. Now, as I already told that Copilot with structured data best works because of Microsoft Graph. And this is something very important that we recently, this is something recently released by Microsoft, and how you can create your copilots, extend them through declarative agents, or build custom copilots. And how they are different, we'll go into detail just in a while. So when we extend Microsoft Copilot, so basic Copilot we can develop through Microsoft Copilot Studio. That's very basic kind of Copilot that where you can let, while designing it, you can tell about the data sources or the actions you want to take behind the scene. All those information you can provide through the Copilot Studio. But today we'll go a little deeper and see how we can create declarative agents, and my coworker Heather will go deeper into that, and how we can use Copilot Studio or Visual Studio Code to build these agents. So this is how the anatomy of Copilot agent is. First thing is the foundation model. The foundation model you can say as ChatGPT's specific model that you will use, or any LLM model you will use, or your Copilot will use, in fact. And there would be an orchestrator layer that will stitch everything together. There would be some knowledge at the back that will help the Copilot or the LLM understand the response or the query both. There can be some triggers that can get things done for you at the back if required, like take some actions into other application systems through some workflows. All right, so I'll not go into detail here, as this is part of the declarative agents that Heather will explain. But on the surface, you can understand that there are ways to create agents without coding, so no code or low code Copilot agents through Copilot Studio, or If you want to create custom agents, you will have to code through VS Code and Teams Toolkit. So when we create declarative agents, knowledge and custom actions work together to create these declarative agents. When we work on custom agents, the horizon is much more broader, and you can bring your business knowledge, your apps, your workflows, your automations, um, everything together. So so in our flow that I'm going to show, this is something that will be covered by path E, and this is something that is covered by path B. We'll see what path E and B are. All right. So here's some of the trade-offs between extending and making a declarative agent versus building a custom engine agent. Um, you can see some pointers like extending a Copilot agent can help you in what areas can bring you what. And again, E path and path B are there on the bottom that we'll cover in the next flow. All right, so when you start building your Copilot agent, you would have to think that what type of agent you want to build. And if you use M365 Copilot's orchestrator and models, you will have to follow path E. Otherwise, you'll go to path B and you will have custom agent developed through path B, while you can do it through declarative agent using path E. So while you develop a custom engine agent, you interact it with the Copilot chat or Teams, and at the back, at the very bottom, you can see LLM there. But in between, we have Teams AI libraries, bot framework, and Microsoft 365 as the application code. All right, so now let's see what a trigger is. It's a relatively new feature within Copilot Studio. And this, as the name suggests, it lets the agent know when it will be triggered and get things done or respond back with the thing that you wanted to do. Um, so there are many out of the box trigger conditions available. Some of them you can see on the screen. How you can do it through the Copilot Studio agent is visible here. And when that particular condition is met, the agent is triggered, and it can either uh, get answers from your knowledge base or your um, topics or actions, however you want it to perform. And there is a scheduled task also. So trigger condition can be scheduled, and this agent would run on a schedule. The other thing Copilot Studio want you to define is a topic. That is kind of an organization of a conversation, that on what kind of query, how the conversation should proceed, and what other directions it can take. So it's kind of a flow, that how your conversation in a certain condition will flow, and how it will ask for other details required to get things done for the user. And there is this agent plan thing that you can say is, and this is also called activity. That is kind of, you can say, Power Automate flow, to get things at the back on being asked to do something. You can see some examples. I mean, an example flow on the screen to understand it. In the Copilot Studio, we have activity pay section where you can see what agents ran at what time, did what, completed, or were not able to complete due to any error or something. So, and what channel on the very right, you can see what channel actually um, called that agent. So Microsoft agents uh, help you in many different ways, like for productivity enhancement that they can it can automate routine tasks like data entry, document formatting, and email drafting. It can provide intelligent suggestions for content creation, saving time on writing and editing. On the data-driven decision making, it can extract insights from large data sets in Excel or Power BI or databases. It can summarize trends, forecasts, outcomes, and presents key metrics, helping business make informed choices faster. Um, AI in Microsoft Teams offers real-time meeting summaries, action items, notes. It can help there. So you can think of endless opportunities that you can get through implementing AI agents. So your AI agents adaption is a journey. You can start with simple agents that would probably like some example. One example is here, IT help desk agent, um, and you can move forward towards more complex and advanced agents like custom support agent. Here you can see. So here are some real world use cases for AI agents. I would not read each of them, and I will rather move towards one use case that we implemented for one of our customer. It's a very interesting use case. I hope you would like it. So this customer of ours has an e-commerce portal for B2B customers, and one of their B2B customer is not very happy in this situation because they are not getting uh, status delivery status of an e-commerce on the e-commerce portal about an order they made a week ago, and the delivery seems delayed, and they're not getting any status on the portal about that. So they contact our customer who implemented this agent um, through the support channels. Some of them our customer is using, and that query about a particular order is recorded or is received through maybe email or Teams chat or Salesforce ticket, or ServiceNow ticket or Slack channel request. And a Copilot agent was listening to it. So Copilot agent triggered on the message when B2B customer sent that query that where is his order, and that Copilot agent knew that where to look for the order status. So it went to Salesforce, and somehow Salesforce was not able to, or the connectivity between the Salesforce and the e-commerce portal was not established properly for this particular case. That's why the status was not pulled by the e-commerce portal. And now when Salesforce goes to the when Copilot agent goes to the Salesforce, it was able to pick the right status. It was able to update in the same channel where B2B customer asked the query, and update the e-commerce portal as well. So the B2B customer was able to get his response right away that why the shipment is delayed. And he was a bit satisfied listening to that. But consider another scenario. The sales force was also not updated, and the delivery status is not even in Salesforce, and Copilot agent found nothing in the Salesforce. What the Copilot agent would do, it will figure out through the documentation that who is the supplier of this particular item that B2B customer has ordered. And it found that there is a Japanese supplier uh, who is supposed to ship this from Japan. Now, the Copilot agent contacts to this supplier through their support channels in Japanese language and asks about this particular order. Japanese supplier responds back with the new expected timeline for the delivery and the reason of delay. This reason is now taken back to Salesforce and updated there. It is communicated on the channel where B2B customer contacted to get to so that he can get the response back. And it is updated in the delivery as a delivery status in the e-commerce portal as well. That by that B2B customer was a little satisfied. So all this operation that may have involved multiple human users, human employees to work are now handled through this agent for this customer of ours, not the B2B customer. That B2B customer is our customer's customer. All right. All right, now we will move towards some hands-on labs, and I will ask my colleague Heather to take it forward.
Thank you so much, Asif. Right. So we'll now try to proceed more towards the technical point of creating declarative agents. I'll walk you through the entire platform with Microsoft 365 Copilot. I'll walk you through the Copilot Studio, and we'll try to build agents first on with a low-code setup. So by low-code, I mean you won't be using any code. We'll begin with that by building a building declarative agents using Copilot Studio and Microsoft 365 Copilot. After that, we'll be building an AI or a declarative agent using ProCode method using the Microsoft Teams toolkit. And after that, we'll be having a short 15 to 20 minutes break, after which we'll be proceeding to building an API plugin for our declarative agent to perform actions and interact with an API. We don't expect you to follow along in these labs, but if you want to, you feel free to do so. And if you guys want to ask questions in between these sessions, the lab sessions, please feel free to do so. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have. All right, let's proceed towards it. I'm going to share my screen, and we'll start off with an approach where we're first building our first Microsoft 365 declarative agent using the Copilot Studio. So what Asif showed you were basically agents that that we can build with Microsoft Copilot Studio. Now these agents are basically, you can think of them as in the Copilot Studio, you can think of them as copilots, which has an agent running at the back end of them, right? So the agent is interacting with the Copilot chat, and the Copilot chat is acting like a client. You can have a conversation with this in this chat window right here. Like you can ask it a question. Hey, what can you help me with? So there's an agent or a declarative agent that is running at the back end of it, right? Um, so it will answer me with something. Let's not dive more into this. We'll be creating a declarative agent. We won't be creating any copilots. So what we'll do is if you have the Copilot Studio trial version with you, or if you work in an organization and you have an organizational account, you'll be able to purchase the Copilot Studio trial version. If you have that, well and good. If you don't, you can watch me create a Copilot. And the purpose of the session is to basically walk you through the functionalities of building, creating, and how we can improve our workflow when we're working in an organization. How do we make our work more efficient? So in order to create a declarative agent, let's go over to the library section, which is on the left pane. We'll be creating a declarative agent right here. So we go in and click on add an item. Now a pop-up window shows up where we can either create a new agent or a new action. A new agent here, this is a window which after you click on, you can create a declarative agent. We're going to click on that, and you're immersed into a conversational experience through which you can create a declarative agent. Make sure you know the difference between what a Copilot agent is and what a declarative agent is. Both of them are different. This session is more geared towards a declarative agent. It's sort of the backend engine of the Copilot agent, right? So Microsoft rebranded its Copilot agent now, and it's kind of confusing in the beginning when you start with it. But if you've got any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat window. Right. So what I'm thinking about creating right now is an agent that can help me make better financial decisions when it comes to investing in cryptocurrencies, right? That's the use case that I thought of real quick when I was thinking about creating this tutorial. So let's type in something. So what I want is I want you to use some predefined documents about investing in cryptocurrency. I will provide a glossary of terms and some explanatory text for context. You will act like an expert. So as soon as I type in this, like you can see, I made some grammatical errors as well as some I missed a comma or two here and there, but it was able to pick up clearly. In the right pane, you can see there are some updates to the agent right now. So they've updated that an expert agent providing advice on investing in cryptocurrency. And then the third point shows the personality. So it provides expert advice. It ensures that its responses are accurate. It avoids discussing topics outside the scope of cryptocurrency investing, which I want, right? So after this, now it's prompting me, great. It says, great, I've set up an agent, blah, blah, and then it's asking me, let's move on to naming the agent. How about crypto advisor? Does that sound good to you? That sounds good. Okay, let's go ahead with yes. That sounds good. So now it's saying, let's refine the instructions further. What should be emphasized or avoided in the responses of crypto advisor? What I want is for it to not use any financial jargons that I don't understand, being a beginner. So being a beginner, I don't want you to use finance related complex jargons or terms. Please explain everything to me as if you're talking to a normal 15-year-old. It's going to go ahead and add that to its personality as well. And you can see the instructions that it gives to the Copilot being updated here. Now it says explain everything in simple terms as if talking to a 15-year-old, right? Not that I'd expect a 15-year-old to be making investment in cryptocurrencies, but you can ask it to do anything based on your case scenario, right? Now it's asking next, how would you like Crypto Advisor to interact with users? It's saying, for example, should it be friendly, formal, or casual? Make the conversational experience as friendly as possible and avoid being very verbose with your responses. Make them clear, concise, and no longer than 2 paragraphs. So as we're building the Copilot here, it's getting those details and ingesting that into its behavior and personality. So we're going to go ahead and create our Copilot. We don't need any further enhancements. And I can show you, like, if you don't have any further enhancements to make in the conversational experience, we can skip to configure it manually as well. We're going to click on create here, and it's going to set up our agent. Now this agent is declarative, right? It's going to be published to our Microsoft 365 Copilot, which I'll be demonstrating what is it that we're talking about now that we're mentioning it again and again. It'll be described shortly. So the first time, if you're creating this agent, it may take like 1 to 2 minutes, but now that I have like many agents, it does it faster as you build more and more agents. So the details pane shows the agent name, the description. It follows what instructions or guardrails it follows when it's grounding its answer and giving us a response. We can add different files to its knowledge base. Like I'll go ahead and add a file somewhere in the future, but right now it's not. We can either enable it to do web browsing or not. So currently it's disabled, but I'll just try and make it enabled so that it uses its web browsing experience. And just from a conversational experience, you can see that it has some starter prompts already designed for us, just like in ChatGPT, where once you open the window, there are some starter prompts you can use to start conversing with the AI as soon as you land on the chat canvas. So some of them are introduction to cryptocurrency investing, glossary of terms. Let's see, investment strategies, risk management. We have market analysis, security measures. Let's click on introduction to cryptocurrency investing. And this is the right pane shows you like a pane where you can test your agent before deploying it or publishing it to any of your team's channels. Right. It answered my question. You can fine tune this answer based on what you provided in the instructions. You can click on edit here and make it and change any of these instructions as you want. Again, if you want to add knowledge, you can do it right here. You can either give it your SharePoint files or you can just drag and drop some documents here. What I want to do is I also want to change the icon. I want to change the appearance of this Copilot when it's published to my M365. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use this. It's just another coin that is in the cryptocurrency. That is a cryptocurrency. I'm going to change the background color to be more blue. And I'm going to save it. Now this has this icon. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to publish it to my Microsoft 365 Copilot. Well, before that, let me pull up the M365 Copilot. Give me a second. Right. So this is what the M365 Copilot extension in Teams looks like. You can have this embedded into your Teams using the extension. And what this is basically it's a conversational AI experience canvas where you can interact with your files in your Microsoft 365. So you can have files from your SharePoint. You can interact with those files. You can interact with the latest information that has been shared inside the company by your higher ups. because this Copilot, it grounds its data in Microsoft 365, in Power Apps, and Microsoft Graph, you can actually have a conversation with any of the files inside your company without explicitly mentioning or telling or consuming the file within this Copilot. This is how the Copilot pane looks like. It has some starter prompts, and it has some of the agents that I've created earlier in the right pane, right? So the one of the brilliant things about this Microsoft 365 Copilot is that you can reference these agents, which are separate. So this agent that I created uh, a few days ago is just another agent which has all of its data grounded on an Italian cuisine, right? So it can provide me with recipes and menu items. And this agent that I've created called Eagle Air, it has all of its data embedded or grounded in an electronic product in drones. So it can give me some information about what drones to buy and what not to buy, right? So both of these agents have their data grounded in external documents. It's not in the 365 graph. Again, I'll be showing you how to build one of these, but what we want to do is have our crypto agent appear right here, okay, amongst these two agents that I've previously created. And then the magic will happen. I'll show you how we can interact with any of these agents using an in context method. Like we can just reference them right here. So I'm going to ask at Eagle Air, and then I'm going to ask any question, and they're going to answer. Or one other method to interact with any of these agents is to click on them. You click on them, it takes you directly to that agent, and you can configure it to have any starter prompts, any conversation starters, anything you want. So this is very interesting to me, and I'd like you guys to be glued up to this, to get glued to your PCs right now, because I'm going to show you something really fantastic. Right now, we created a crypto advisor. It's all configured. We have everything that we want in here. We also give it a little picture and an icon to display, right? What I'm going to do next is I'm going to publish it to my M365. It's going to ask me what channels it wants me to publish to, and I want it to be posted to both Teams and M365. You can give it's optional to give it a short description, hopefully, or not hopefully, but it has been pre-filled by the settings of the AI conversational experience, which we use to build this agent. And let's go ahead and click on publish. Let's see, let's be hopeful that we don't get any errors. This will take a couple of, maybe half a minute or so. Please feel free to ask any questions if you have got any in the meanwhile. We'll try to answer them. It's taking some time now. Right. So this Copilot has, I think, been published. It's asking me whether it wants me to show it to my team members. I don't want that right now because it's something, it's very basic. So I'm just going to click on done. And if I go to publish details in the overview pane, it says that it has been published to Teams and M365 Copilot. Let's go ahead to our M365 Copilot right now. And let's refresh this. So it should be right here, but it's not appearing. Give me a second. Right, I'm going to close this and click on it again. Right. Just a few seconds, guys. In the meanwhile, please feel free to ask any questions. Any questions
So
that you guys may have.
while you figure that out to open it,
Mhm.
let me share my screen and just go over some areas. So this is the screen we all have seen, I think, and this is what we call BizChat. So on this is the area where we interact with our M365 Copilot. And there's a panel on the top right. If you click on that, you can see all the agents or the Copilot agents you have made. And you can interact with them either by clicking or by putting at a particular agent name, such at geolocator game, and then interact with it. In the next lab, we will move towards um, another type of declarative agent that are created outside of Copilot Studio, and they are produced with Teams Toolkit in VS Code, Visual Studio Code. So anyone who will follow with our instructor can go ahead in their Teams app and look for uh, this Teams Toolkit installation and keep the VS Studio Code also installed.
Right. And just take
Are you
just
back?
take one more minute. Just take one more minute.
All right. Okay. Once we have this Teams Toolkit installed and opened in your Teams, um, that's how we create a new Copilot agent from there. So um, create new app and then Copilot agent. There are different types of Copilot agent that we create from here.
Right. I'm going to proceed further now.
Sure.
Let me share my screen again. Right. So there are some technical difficulties with publishing it from here. These problems reappear with Microsoft Copilot again and again, but luckily we have another way to do it, which is to basically use Microsoft 365 Copilot inside the canvas as well, which was the other way I was going to demonstrate in how we can create copilots, right? So we're just going to use create an agent from here, because you can create agents from here too. Let's click on this and let's create our agent using conversational experience like we did. So I'm going to copy paste my prompts like I wrote them before. And while we're having this conversation experience, it's going to upload what instructions it's going to use. It's basically the same thing. It's a low code approach, but this time we're using the Copilot M365 Copilot to create an agent. That works for me. Avoid. So the same old process, and hopefully this time we can create our Copilot. Right, so we're going to click on create. Hopefully it will show up in the Copilot pane to the right. Go to agent. Right, so you can see it appear right here, and you can talk to this agent now amongst many other agents. See, the thing is that in your organization, you may have different workflows from which you get your information, and you might want to communicate with your teammate based on that information, right? It's hard sometimes to go to your SharePoint and get your data from there, and communicate based on that. But with this right here now, with M365 Copilot, all you have to do is just reference it in your chat, like this. Call it at. Oh, I'm already inside of it. Let's see the context experience. I'm going to click on at crypto guide. Tell me a bit about investing in crypto. And it's going to answer based on the instructions which I asked it to answer on. So this is the in context experience. You can mention your Copilot name, and if you want to no longer interact with it, you just click on close here, and it's going to go back to the Copilot 365, right? And then you can interact with all your documents back again. So this is one of the ways we can create Copilots using a very low code approach. The next thing which we're going to do is we're going to create it using a pro code approach. Both of these were low code, and now we're going to go with a pro code approach. So if you want to follow along with this, please open up your Visual Studio Code. We'll be building it as we go. Right now, okay, I've got my Visual Studio Code pulled up, and I'll be creating my declarative agent using the Microsoft Teams toolkit. Now, this Microsoft Teams toolkit is one of the latest inventions of Microsoft. And what it does is basically it makes it very simple for you as a developer to create declarative agents for Microsoft Teams. Before this was basically used to create projects for Microsoft Teams or applications for Microsoft Teams. One of the beautiful things about this Microsoft Teams toolkit is that it creates all the scaffolding, all the boilerplate code for you to get started, jump started on working on your app that you want to deploy to Microsoft. So what I'm going to do next is, now that I have Microsoft Teams Toolkit plugin installed and the extension enabled, I'm going to go in and create a new app. This new app will basically be a declarative agent that we're going to build. I'm going to click on New App, and then I'm prompted to whether I want to build an agent, a custom engine agent, a bot, an Outlook add-in, etc. But what I want to do is make a declarative agent. I'm not going to create a custom engine agent. Know that while you have the M365 Copilot license, when you're building declarative agents, using that, you have out-of-the-box LLMs with you. You have out-of-the-box grounding data with you. So and you have out-of-the-box Microsoft's orchestrator algorithm with you. So why would you go ahead and create a custom engine agent unless you really want to? We should use the benefit of what Microsoft gives us when it comes to LLMs, the orchestrators, and out-of-the-box knowledge base. So let's click on agent. Yes, it's a declarative agent. At first, I'm going to build it with no plugin, right? So it's going to have no API plugin added in it, meaning that it cannot perform any actions, but it will be just like a basic declarative agent which we just created. We're going to give it some knowledge base as well. This will be built purely using a pro code approach. So we have to configure everything inside the code. What I will do next is click on this, and I'm going to choose my local directory. Click on DA, select this folder, and let's name our uh, project Contoso Expert. When you do this, a new tab of Visual Studio pops up where you have your Contoso Expert project created alongside all the boilerplate code. So let's examine what we have in here. You have got your folder. Let's click on app package. Now, if you go and look inside the app package, this gives you different files. Let's click on this one. This is just like a sample picture that will be used as an icon for my Copilot, and I did not configure this. This was just inside the scaffolding. Again, this is for the outline, but one of the main files that we use to configure our Copilot is the manifest, which is a JSON file, right? And the declarative agent.json file. So every declarative agent scaffolding folder has these two files. These are very necessary. The manifest file shows or gives you the configuration of the application that you would be deploying to teams. And the declarative agent gives you the configuration of your Copilot. What name will it have, right? The description, its instructions that you wanted to follow. Currently, you can see that it refers to this file, instructions.txt, which is inside our Contoso Expert folder. Now, all of this is generated by the Microsoft Teams toolkit for you. You don't have to do any of this. All you have to do is just configure these two files. So looking at the instructions, let's see what it has in its instructions.txt. And by default, it just fills it with this text. It says you're a declarative agent. You start every response and answer to the user with thanks for using Teams toolkit to create your declarative agent, and then answer the question and help the user. Right. We're going to change all of this as we go, but please kindly give me a thumbs up if you're following along. I don't want us to be not getting what we're doing. All right, I think we're all good. I'm going to assume we're all good. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take a look at these instructions. The agent that I'm trying to build is basically a Contoso expert. What is Contoso? Contoso is a fictional company which has some electronic products, let's assume, and we want to make an expert that helps our customer base or Contoso's customer base with frequently asked questions about the electronic products, about it answers different customer queries, and we want to take some load off of their customer support team. We want some of the lifting to be done by the declarative agents, especially with some of the basic queries that customers come up with, like what is the price of this product, or please compare this product to the other product within your products category, or what are the capabilities of this product. These are some of the frequently asked questions that within customer support teams that I feel like if some of that burden is lifted from support team that is in person, it does wonders, and it takes pressure off of the people that are working behind the customer support, and they can cater to more involved situations or questions, right? So first of all, I don't like the instructions that we are giving it. So what we're going to do is change the instructions. I have some instructions that I created, and what I'm going to do is, without wasting any time of yours, I'm not going to go in and type, just going to go in and just copy paste them. So I'm saying you're a declarative agent and work creative with Teams toolkit. You should start every response with this, and then answer the questions and help the user. This is very basic, right? I'm going to go ahead and refine this, but not right now. So um, let's go ahead and see what is inside these two files, the manifest.json file. This gives us the entire information about our application. Let's parse through this file. So you can see that starting on the file, it gives the schema from where you can query this Microsoft Copilot agent. This is not very important, but let's come to the important bit where we can where we're creating that where we are creating the configuration of the declarative agent. So in the bottom, you can see declarative agents, right? It has its own ID. Every declarative agent has their ID, and then they have their associated file, which in this case is declarative agent.json. And this is located in the left pane where I first show you. It's right here, and we're going to go in and click on this to see what are the contents of this file, right? Shortly. Apart from this box right here, we can see that we can set accent colors. We can give permissions for who this Copilot or declarative agent is for, and who can or cannot use it. You can give the app its own description, right? Uh, these are just parameters where you can configure your application for teams to be deployed, and it shows as metadata when you're trying to get a hold of this application. Let's go to the declarative agent.json file. This is a manifest file for the declarative agent now. What it does, what instructions are given to it, like we changed here, the description, right? The description is very important. It's very important to give your declarative agent a description so that someone else who's working on your project may know what this project has been destined for. So we're going to go ahead and change the description of it. Then I'm going to copy paste. And now I wanted to understand that it's a product support agent that can help answer customer queries about Contos or electronic products, right? And the name I'm happy with. I don't have an issue with this, right? I'm going to, so now I want this, now that I've made a few changes and some of the changes which I'll be making in the future, I'll just try to go ahead and publish this to my M365 like I did earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Teams Toolkit. Just so that you're aware, the first time you open your account in the Teams Toolkit, you'll be prompted to enter your login credentials so that it knows what Teams account it's linked to. In my case, it is connected to my organizational account. I don't have any custom app upload, right? That's been disabled by default from our organization, but you have the access to it. You can look at it you can see the Copilot work in a preview mode, right? But now that I want to provision or deploy my declarative agent, I'm going to go to a lifecycle section and click on provision. And this is going to provision all of the resources that it needs for this app to run in Microsoft Teams, right? So it has been provisioned successfully. And if you want to see it provisioned, we can head to the Microsoft Edge, or no, we can go to run and debug. We're going to click on that and click on preview in Copilot because that's where we want our agent to be, right? We're going to click on run and debug. I'm going to pull this up right here to log into my account. And it should appear here in the right side pane. So we defined this Contoso expert. It has been deployed to M365 Copilot right now. What I'm going to do next is click on it and see this looks very empty. It does not have any custom knowledge added to it. All it knows is that it's a customer support bot. See, when I click on what can you do, and these are one of the starter prompts. It begins its answer like we directed it to. It says, "Thanks for using the team toolkit to create your declarative agent." That's what we asked it to do, right? And it says, "I can assist you with a variety of tasks." This is very general. We don't want our Copilot to be giving answers that are very general. We want to be tailored to a specific use case. In this case, we want it to be an expert. So the next thing what we're going to do is we're going to add some custom knowledge to this Copilot. Up till now, if there are any questions, kindly go ahead and ask. Right, I'm going to assume we don't have any questions now. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add custom knowledge to this Copilot, right? And I see that in my VS Code, I don't see, surprisingly, I don't see my folder anymore, which is funny. Okay. To close this again. This is funny, right? Right, I see it now. Open folder, open the exact folder. Yeah, it's taking a bit. It's the basic template, but I want to get to my code. Please open my code. In the meanwhile, please feel free to ask questions while we're getting this configured. Sometimes VS Code would act a bit glitchy. It's just part of the process, getting familiar with it and trying to make it work by force if necessary. Yeah, it's surprising. It's not opening up that folder. Can you give me a second? Right. So we're going to just go ahead and work more on this. Folder open, luckily. Right. So what we did was we created this folder called Contoso Expert, and we created this project. We saw what the configuration of these files are. Uh, we're going to give it now some custom knowledge because we want it to answer in an expert way. We want it to give us expert answers and not generalized, right? But the one way you can do that is you can add a capability function to your Copilot. And inside those capabilities, you ask it to get its knowledge from a specific folder that you wanted, right? What I'm going to do is go ahead and make another dictionary item here, which is called capabilities, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a URL from my OneDrive where I have some of my knowledge base folders, which I'm going to demonstrate right now. So if you've got your files in OneDrive, like me, I am going to go to OneDrive and get my OneDrive URL from there. Right. Okay, that's me sign in. All right. So I have a folder which has all my files, and what to do is this is the folder which contains all the files uh, related to Consortium Electronics. I want my agent to ground its data based on all these files, right? And so what I'm going to do is provide a pointer to this directory, which you can get from the details pane. So I'm going to go back, click on the three dots, products, settings, not there. Details aren't showing up. All right. Right. Again, I will ask for another second until I right. All of a sudden now it started working. Right. So I'm going to go to the details pane, click on more details, and right here it's going to give me the path. My files and product. Let's access. Not sharing. And copy. So go to more details. This is all my details. Now that I have the URL, I'll just go ahead and use this URL to ground my data. Let's go through these files one by one. Let's see what's inside and what's inside each of these files. This file has the specifications of the Contoso quad aircraft, right? It's also got some frequently asked questions, which I want the declarative agent to ground its answers on, right? let's take a look at some of the other files. Gimbal case. This document contains the specifications of the gimbal that Contoso makes, and I want its answers to be, I want the declarative agent's answer to be grounded based on these, right? So now that we have a fairly good idea of how we want the Copilot to, of how we want the declarative agent to answer, we'll just go ahead and specify this URL path in our Copilot. Right here, we're just going to copy paste our URL, the relative data path, and the next thing what we're going to do is provision again, right? Right. I'm going to close this project and open VS Code. Open folder. Okay. Right. And let's click on provision here. Now we have some of our now the data that we shared with the declarative agent has been provisioned inside the Copilot. Let's see what comes up when we open the Copilot itself. We're going to click on the debug button right here again. Right. So now that we have our session pulled up again, let's go to Contoso Expert. And the first thing that I notice is now that we have a knowledge added, we also want it to look nice. Like we want it to not have these starter prompts. We want it to have more starter prompts. So how we can do that is we can add starter or conversation starters to the app to the declarative agent manifest file. So let's do that and then come back and generate our responses. This VS Code has been acting very weird with me lately. So I have to close both or either open a folder DA. This will open it up. So we want to give the declarative agent some starter prompts to build on, right? And how we can do that is basically go add a starter prompt functionality inside the declarative agent jar.json file. I have that written down with me, and what I'm going to do is walk you through it and also copy paste it. Know that all of this code will be shared with you after the session ends, so make sure that you grab your copy. Some of the conversation starters are here that I've defined are like the product information, return policy, product information again, product troubleshooting, repair information, and contact support. This these starter prompts or the conversation starters basically make it easy for the end user to start a conversation with an AI on the fly. They don't need to write anything in the dialog box. All they need to do is just start writing, right? So after I do this, I'm going to save this and give me a second, please. Right. Let's save this and provision this again. Go to Teams. Okay. Each time you go to the Teams toolkit, you have to make sure that you've opened that directory, which somehow doesn't appear here, but I think there's a bug inside the Teams toolkit. If this doesn't appear, there should be a folder here which doesn't appear, like I have in the other tab. There's a folder icon here which disappears when I try to provision something inside the Teams toolkit. This may be a bug that they later have to fix, but the change with what we made, if I want to recap on that again, is basically adding conversation starters to the declarative agent. Like I said, this makes it easy for any person who wants to talk to the Copilot, talk to them, right? I've saved my progress here. I'm going to click on provision here again. And we see that the provisioning has been done successfully. It says custom app upload is disabled. That doesn't matter because we're not trying to upload any custom app. All we want to do is to see our agent in action before somebody even has access to it. Right, so let's go to debug mode again and preview in Copilot Edge. The Copilot now should have some starter prompts. Let's go to our Copilot. This takes some time. Right, so now it doesn't have those basic conversation starters like what to do or tell me something about it. It now has specific starter prompts associated with it, right? So our Copilot looks nice now. If we want to change the image, like I said or showed you guys, one way to do that is inside the app folder, where you can, now that we're using this, you can use any of the file of which you desire, which is more suited or tailored to your company's design or company's logo design. That is completely up to you. But it's we've created a Copilot using Visual Studio Code with custom knowledge, and now it has starter prompts as well. Right. Let's start off with some product information and ask it a question. Tell me about Eagle Air. Right. Right. So it has a problem now. It says that it seems I couldn't find any specific information about Eagle Air in the available documents. This means that it hasn't read any data from the URL that I gave it from my OneDrive. Now this is something that I'm going to work on in the backend. Meanwhile, if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask them. And what we're going to do is after the questions, we're going to resume back. I'm going to have 10 to 15 minutes for questions right now. So feel free to ask any questions or grab a cup of coffee or grab a hot drink if you want.
It's kind of a break right now, but
Yes.
anyone who wants to have a question, we can discuss during the break.
Heather, Asif, I think we don't have any more questions that are on the chat. But if anybody wants to ask any questions, please unmute yourself and we will be happy to take any questions regarding the labs or any content that is shared today. So it looks like we don't have any questions. We will conclude today's session.
Sakina, we
Mhm.
have some stuff left.
Oh,
It's
okay.
kind of a break. Yeah.
Oh, we're just taking a quick break.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello. Hi, Asif, Heather. Let's resume again. I think we have a lot to cover in next few minutes. So let's start and let's resume the session.
Understood.
Thank you.
All right. So there was a like we're going to go back to editing our declarative agent using flow code technology. So what we did was we made a Copilot that has some starter prompts, that has a outline logo, and with which you can converse about the documents that I shared with it in my OneDrive. One issue was that it wasn't picking the documents from my OneDrive, but this entire declarative agents, this technology is currently in uh, it's in a maturing stage. And so sometimes what would happen is that it would need some time, like 5 to 10 minutes, to pick up knowledge in order to answer based off of that, right? Uh, it seems now that it has picked that knowledge, and what we're going to do now is just ask it different stuff about the documents. Like, let's say I want to ask it, tell me about Eagle Air. It's going to go ahead into those documents and answer based on what it sees, what it retrieves, and spits out an answer. It also gives you references, which is very cool. Like, it highlights all of this stuff of the specifications of the product, and also gives you references, which you can click on. And this will take you to the OneDrive document, which you not this one, to the OneDrive document that you referred it to in the configuration file right here, which is pretty awesome, right? It's just one parameter. And as soon as you give the details of that parameter, it's going to go in, it goes in and fetches that data and grounds its answer based on that. This is the document it took information about for the product called Eagle Air, right? Eagle Air. So this is really cool to me. Anyways, let's ask it something else. Recommend a product for a farmer. It's going to go back into those documents, find some relative products, and do some recommendations. It says, for farmers, I would recommend considering the Eagle Air drone. This high-performance drone is designed for enterprise use and offers exceptional flight time and range, making it ideal for large-scale agricultural operations. It's answering with very high accuracy, which is very, very impressive, right? Let's ask it another question. Let's ask it, explain why the Eagle Air is more suitable than Contoso Quad. It's going to make a comparison between these two different quadcopters, and in detail give us information. We can also ask it date-related stuff, like Mark 8 is one of the products of Contoso, and we're going to ask it, when was Mark 8 released? It's brilliant. It just answers based off of the grounding data which you provided. You don't need to look into that data. All you need to do is have a have that data or get that data through a chat experience, right? I can't even imagine the sort of impact it will have with for businesses in which there are multiple verticals, like financial verticals, product support verticals, and each of these different verticals have all of their vertical related data stored in SharePoint or OneDrive, somewhere inside Microsoft Cloud, anywhere. And what you can do is, instead of going through each document in those folders, you can just have a declarative agent configured on those documents, and it can act as a separate expert for each of these verticals, which is quite amazing to me. Now, we have made our first declarative agent uh, for M365. We've sort of extended our Microsoft 365 Copilot for our data, for our Contoso product related data, which we can, and we can call this agent right here. Contoso expert, tell me about, tell me about the product called Contoso Cloud. And just from the biz chat or Microsoft 365 Copilot, it can answer your query with high precision, giving you references and minimizing any verbosity that often AIs give you. You want its answer to be as concise and as direct as possible. Awesome. So the lab 2 is done. You can consider it done. We've completed making copilots with low code using Copilot Studio and M365 BizChat. We've made a copilot using Visual Studio Code, which is a pro code method. We gave our copilot custom knowledge, right? We add some extra context to the agent by configuring its grounding data. We defined prompts for starting new conversations, which you can find right here. We provided with 6 prompts. Currently, the maximum number of conversation starters you can have with a declarative agent are 6. I think they're going to come up with more. They're going to add a functionality where you can have more in the future. But also, we uploaded our declarative agent to Microsoft 365 Copilot, and we validated the results, right? This is great. So what we're going to do next is we're going to try to build this lab experience, which we're doing right now, and add some actions to our Microsoft 365 declarative agent, right? And what is basically an action? An action is any activity that a declarative agent can do on your behalf that is very repetitive. It can answer an email as soon as an email arrives in your inbox. It can get the weather data for you, and you can ask it right here in the chat about, like, tell me something about the weather out there in Chicago, Illinois, and it'll pull out the correct weather information from a plugin, right? That's an action. So what we're going to do next is make a declarative agent that does an action. I have a demonstration for you with me. This is going to be, if you were following along up till now, this lab is going to be a more demonstrative kind. It's kind of involved more. It has many steps to it. So please, like, I would suggest if you could follow along with those steps, not necessarily building it, would be more useful for you, because we're going to be going through it a bit fast. Right. Let me pull up my VS Code again. In fact, I'm going to close any VS Code windows that I had until now. And let's open our declarative agent, our VS Code, sorry. Again. This time more, we're going to open the folder called Cafe di Milano. This is something that I had worked on. So Cafe di Milano is a project that I created, and it's a declarative agent like we just made with VS Code, except that it can perform actions. It has the exact same structure that you would expect from a declarative agent, a project that is created with a Teams toolkit. So it has the declarative agent manifest file, and the application manifest file, right? It's using the same outline like it was, but there are a lot of more functionalities that I've added, like actions and an AI plugin that we'll be discussing right now shortly. So please feel free to ask questions if you have right now before we begin with building an API plugin. Please give me a thumbs up if you're following along this. Right. So what I want is, if you guys want to follow along, what I would do is I would just go ahead and give you guys the GitHub repository to this, since I feel like this GitHub repository will be like the project starter point for you, where you can build your declarative agent with API plugin from here. So once you have this repository, what you can do is open up that sponsored repository in VS Code and start looking at the files, right? So in the app package, let's go to manifest.json. It's the same manifest file. It refers to a declarative agent.json file right here. And this file is right here. When I click on it, it gives me the name, version, description, and again, the instructions for the declarative agent. So I've named it Cafe di Milano since it's a fictitious Italian restaurant. And the scenario here is that Cafe di Milano has their menu for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And through this declarative agent Copilot, what you can do is you can ask it to give you that menu, and you can basically order stuff for yourself. You can place orders, which is an action we'll be adding. So not only does it have custom data to fetch, but it also performs the action of placing an order on your behalf. This is something that is an action-based use case. So what we're going to do now is we're going to explore through all these files as we go down, and we're going to make some changes to those files just to go through the entire process of making a pro-code declarative agent. Of course, I'm going to be repeating some steps so that some of the knowledge sits good with you, and you can remember it from your memory later. So inside the app package API specification file, which we have right here, we've got an API specification file called restaurante.yml. This is a YAML file, and it has different sections to it. It has info, servers, paths, and components. It's got four items, right? So we locate the servers item, and we see that it's pointing to a local URL, which matches the standard URL when you're like running Azure functions locally, right? This API plugin that we'll be creating is basically an API using Azure functions. So whenever we want answers, or whenever we want actions to be performed, like retrieving menu items, we'll be using Azure functions to get or fetch that menu items, right? Next, locate the path property, and in this path property, you can see the operations or the actions that will be done on behalf of us, which will be primarily get the dishes inside the menu and also place an order on our behalf. These are the two functions that will be performed by this API plugin, right? So now that we have the YAML file figured out, we know what it does. We know that it specifies to what the API plugin does. We're going to go ahead and open the src folder where we have the data.json file, right? Now this file contains a fictitious menu item for an Italian restaurant. Each dish consists of a name, a description, an image, its price, whether or not it has allergens, Some of us might be allergic to some of the ingredients, so they're listed out here. What course the dish is for, and the type of dish. Well, the type, right? It's of course it's a dish. It's not an electronic product. So in this exercise, the APIs will be using this file as their data source. Okay. The Azure function would be fetching data from this data.json file, which I'll be showing in a bit. Right. The next thing, what we're going to do is we're going to go and open src.functions. And we see that there are two functions that are inside this functions file. We've got dishes.ts. It's a TypeScript TypeScript code file, and a placeorder.ts. These both are functions that will be performed by the API plugin on our behalf. These define what action will be done, right? So if I open the dishes function, firstly, what it does is that it imports the data using the import function. And next, it looks into the different query string parameters or possible filters that the client calling the API, like they might pass these possible filters, right? They might say, I want to order lunch, or they say, I'm allergic to a few allergens inside. Are there any allergens inside this dish that I may be aware of, right? So these are some of the different query string parameters, which helps you filter out filter out user response if it's included in that. Next we delve into the placeorder.ts file, which has the function for placing orders, right? So the API starts with referencing that data, right? Next, the API starts with it references the data, and then it defines the shape of the order that the client sends from inside the request body, right? Once it does that, once the API processes the request and knows that the structure is good, it first checks if the request contains a body, right here. If it doesn't contain a valid body, it's going to throw a status 400 bad request error. And once it has the valid JSON format for the body, the API resolves the price of the order using this function, this condition. So after you order something, you place an order for let's say some frittata and a glass of water, you're going to get the total price of your order if the data that you've entered has been entered successfully into the request body of the API. So it's going to process that and give you the total price of the order. That is the functionality of these two functions. It retrieves the dishes and then places order on your behalf. The next thing what we're going to do is we're going to create a file in the app package folder. So this is app package. This is the app package folder. I'm going to go ahead and click new file, and I'm going to name it AI plugin.json. This is going to be the AI. This is going to be the AI plugin manifest file. And what exactly we're doing here is, well, let me try to demonstrate that to you through this figure, right? So please let me know if you can see this figure clearly. All right. So the API plugin, which we define for a declarative agent, essentially caters to the declarative agent performing actions. So in the Teams app, you have a declarative agent. Your declarative agent has the API plugin file. The API plugin defines the different functions that will be performed by the declarative agent, right? And the function itself, it refers to the API operation. Of course, that's what the function does. It basically makes GET requests to the data.json file that I showed you guys earlier. And the API plugin refers to the API specification file. Remember the YAML file that I showed you? That's the API specification file. It refers to this file, and which defines the API operation. So the restaurante.yml, this defines the API operation, and the AI plugin.json file, what it does is that it refers to the API operation. This is the workflow of how an action is performed within an declarative agent. Please feel free to ask any questions if you have any on this. I'm going to hop back to the code. So in this, I just created another JSON file within API specification within the app package folder. I'm going to copy paste some information here, which I have stored with me. Just to show you guys, I've created this folder, created this file again. So the API specification, the AI plugin.json file right here contains a basic structure for an API plugin with a description for the human and the model, right? The description for the model, which is right here, it includes like detailed information about what the plugin can do to help the agent understand, right, when it should consider invoking it or not invoking it. This is read by AI, so we have to make sure that we have it as precise and as accurate as possible. So we have the description for the human. This is just for us to see, right, on the chat interface. Again, it has a namespace, and it has a name for a human. This is the AI plugin file. The functions, which we'll fill out the functions item, the runtimes item, the capabilities, and we'll add some conversation starters to it like we did before. So let's go ahead and add some functions here. Since this is the manifest file for the actions that the declarative agent will be performing, we want to give it what actions are these exactly, right? One of them is get dishes, right? Its name is get dishes. It uses the function dishes.ts, and it returns information about the dishes on the menu, like it's right here. The description is important because Copilot uses it to decide which function to invoke for a user's prompt. So you have to have this as descriptive as possible, right? In the response semantics, you can see that you specify this response semantics is actually how you specify the Copilot should display the data when it retrieves data from the API. Because the API returns the information about the dishes on the menu in the dishes property, right? Because it has a $sign right here. It's set its data part to dishes. And then for the title and subtitle, this is something how we want the data to appear on our end. So when we give it a title, it's going to retrieve the name of the dish, and in the subtitle will be the description of the dish. Right? You'll see it come to fruition in a short while. Another function that we wanted to add was the place order function. Which will be right here. Add a comma. Add the function here. Again, the name of this function is place order, right? That's also the ID of the function, which was defined in dishes.ts, right? So we have to be very, very accurate when we are playing with function IDs and copy pasting them. This has to be the exact same like how it was defined. Right. Now that we have both of these functions, which are our only functions inside the AI plugin.json, the complete file should look like this, right? The next thing, what we're going to do is in the runtime section, we're going to provide it the runtime. The runtime will tell the Copilot what sort of an API we're dealing with. Currently, currently the declarative agent, it only um, works with Open API. So it's not Open AI API, it's Open API. So in the runtimes, let's add this functionality. It's going to be an Open API. Our authentication is anonymous, so you can configure it to however you want. But for myself, it's going to be anonymous since we're just doing this for testing purposes. So let me know if you guys are okay up till now. Okay. So in the spec section, we specify the relative path to the API specification located in our project, right? So it's the relative path is API specification file /restaurant.yml, which is right here. It's inside, these both files are inside the same folder, right? So the complete file should now look like this. Right. The next thing, what we're going to do is we're going to click on save. We're going to save this, and we're going to open the declarative agent.json file, right? This has the schema, name, description, and instructions. But we also wanted to perform the actions that we defined in the AI plugin.json. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy paste the actions. See that it has an ID, which is called menu plugin, and the file name, which is AI plugin.json, which we just created here, right? This the AI plugin.json has all the functions, which this declarative agent manifest file should know about, right? So we refer to this file in the declarative agent manifest through the dictionary property called actions. So using this snippet, you connect a declarative agent to the API plugin. There's a unique ID for the plugin, and we instruct the agent where it can find the plugin's information, right? We have got its name figured out. We've got the description right here, then instructions. Let's go to the instruction. Let's see what's inside the instructions. It says your declarative agent and were created with Teams Toolkit. It's the same basic one that was created. I've got another one, which would be a better way to have instructed, right? These are the custom instructions that I try to give it right now. These are much more detailed, has some prompt engineering at the back end. Again, we're going to share this code with you. You're going to see everything which is inside this project, how to run it, etc. But when you're trying to give the declarative agent or the AI some instructions to follow, you should use some prompt engineering techniques at the back end to make sure you get what you want with high accuracy every time, right? Right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open this declarative agent.json file again. And again, this currently doesn't have any conversation starters, right? We want some conversation starters, ideally. What we'll do is we'll add another snippet of code here. We will be telling it what are some of the conversation starters it'll have, right? So some of them that I've defined is what's for lunch today, or what can I order for dinner that is gluten-free? These both are conversation starters, right? But before we can test our declarative agent, we need to basically update the URL that is inside the configuration file, right? Right now, you can see, like, if you go to restaurant.yml and go to servers, the URL is this one, which is the URL Azure functions use when running locally. However, because you want the Copilot to call your API from the cloud, you need to expose your API to the internet. Now, Teams Toolkit automatically exposes your local API over the internet. How it does it is basically by creating a dev tunnel. Each time you start debugging your project, Teams Toolkit starts a new dev tunnel and stores its URL in the Open API server URL. You can see how the Teams Toolkit starts the tunnel and stores its URL in the VS Code extension right here in the tasks.json file. So there should be a property here called start local tunnel, right? And the endpoint which we want to use is this, the Open API server endpoint URL, right? Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy that one. We're going to copy this and paste it into our app API specification file right here. This is going to be this is going to hold the dev tunnel URL endpoint URL, right? Now this is how the overall file looks like right now. Awesome. The next thing what we're going to do is we're going to save our changes and we're going to test the declarative agent with the API plugin. Again, let's go to our Teams toolkit. And of course, it's going to remove everything that we just created like it does. Let's see. Let's open another folder. Okay, this should start now. It's not. VS Code back up again. Order. Let's open the folder. Just turn declarative agent API. Folder. Save all. Right, now we have this open, and you have to have the exact same the folder which has all your manifest files in order for the Teams toolkit to sense it. Right now it has sensed it. It has successfully removed that folder location again, so that it's hard for me to go back again and make changes. But I think we're good to go now. The next thing what we're going to do is we're going to click on provision. This provisioning is going to set up an Azure Apps function, like it's asking me right now. What is it? It's asking me for an Azure resource group to basically create that Azure function in, and I'm going to click on this Ignite demo. Provisioning in progress. This is my Azure account, Azure subscription, and my M365 account. Click on provision, and it's going to create that Teams app in a bit. You can check the output log in the output panel. It'll be updating as we speak. So our app was successfully uploaded, and our Azure Functions app, let me show you that. So I'm going to go to Azure portal, and just for the sake of it, just to show that this is legitimate, I'm going to go into Ignite demo. Sorry for that. It created a plugin app Azure function. This will act like as sort of our API plugin, where where our app would be able to make requests to and would get data from the JSON file which is uploaded here, right? Awesome. The next thing which I think should be on our plate is just testing it. So let's go ahead to run and debug it. I'm not trying to upload this. So now that it has ran, I'm going to preview it in Copilot Edge. Click on go. Let's do that again. Here. Whoa, what's going on? It's using another account. Sign up. Right now, I'm going to sign into my account, and we're going to see this happen. We can see an agent that will be created on the right-hand pane. Right, it's let's show. Yes, it's here. Thank God. It's called Cafe di Milano, like I defined. And with these two, just these two, we can create 6 of them, but I just wanted 2 just for the sake. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it a question. Remember that we don't have any custom knowledge that we're giving it. So the entire dishes from the menu that we will be retrieving would be using the API, using the Azure functions. Okay, let's just say hi for now. Let's not use any template. Let's say that I want to place an on. Again, you can see that in these instructions that I've given them, I wanted to be very friendly. I wanted to use emoticons. That's how you say it, emoticons. I wanted to use emoticons, and I wanted to be very friendly, right? So I want to place an order. Let's type that. Great. Get started with your order. Are you looking for breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Let's say I'm looking for breakfast. It's going to ask me if it wants to allow me. After I allow it to connect to the API, it's going to retrieve all the dishes. Hopefully. And the first time the agent is trying to use the API plugin, it will use some time, but this is because this is the first time it's trying to create the dev tunnel and basically get that data from the data.json file which we have as an API right now. Right. So it obviously it has some problems. It won't be able to do it as swiftly as possible. It's going to take some time. Right. Let's restart the chat. I want to place an order. Let's say lunch. Again, like I said, this is going to take time for the first time over. The Copilot is getting set up. And look at this, it successfully retrieved all the menu items inside the data.json file. I'm sorry, I can't retrieve the data.json, but these items were all included in that data.json. It retrieved those items using the API plugin that we built. Now, this is what we call an action. We did not give it any additional knowledge or custom knowledge. It did all of this. It did this action through an API plugin, which we defined, which we worked so hard on. Now, and it has retrieved the title and the subtitle of the dish from the data.json file as well, alongside the currency and the price. So this is one of the actions that I did, right? Now, the other action that I want to demonstrate is I want to place an order, right? So what I'm going to do is it's asking me if I have any specific preferences or negative restrictions. So I'll just go ahead and say I want to order a margarita pizza and a bottle of water. So it's going to connect to the API again. It has gotten the JSON body from what I want, from my intent, and I'm going to click on confirm. Again, this is going to take time, but some time for the first time. So let me point out one thing, which is this data.json file. The declarative agent was successfully able to pull out all the lunch items, like I mentioned in my right. I wanted to pull out just that I had lunch. It was able to do that beautifully, and it was able to shortlist all the lunch items that I asked for. This is taking some time. But there was an issue with processing. Um, let's ask it again. Please. So then Right. Third time over, it was able to place an order for me. But you can see that how we can use AI plugins to make the declarative agent perform actions. In this case, we created an action for a declarative agent, which basically retrieves data from a data.json file, and the API plugin bit in the cloud is catered to by the Azure functions. This would be all for the API plugin lab, but kindly let us know if you've got any questions for us. Of course, Asif would like to take over from here now and present the rest of the presentation to you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Heather. It seems like the publication of AI agents takes a little bit more time than we expected, and we saw a couple of things coming up a little late.
For sure.
Anyway,
For sure.
So I'll just quickly wrap up the discussion. You saw the power of AI agents. It can have a lot more covered based on your particular use cases. Roy Cyber can help you jumpstart your AI agent program, and we can help you with rapid deployments and reduce learning curve and customize your business based on, like, we can customize AI agents based on your business. So with rapid deployments, you can start seeing results within weeks, not months, and our experts can guidance from our experts can help your team quickly understand the use of AI features effectively. And our offer is tailored configurations to ensure that Microsoft AI agent address your specific needs and goals. So we can help you with identify a use case and look into the areas where repetitive tasks, data analysis, and customer support could benefit from AI assistant. And we can train your employees by providing training on how to use Copilot features within their respective apps. Along with that, we can set performance matrix for you to measure success by tracking time savings, cost reduction, and increased accuracy in workflows. So we suggest iterative approach to improve, gather feedback, adapt the AI agent settings for better fit within your business needs. For the attendees of this session and Microsoft Ignite, we have this Jumpstart package where we can help you on all these fronts, from business need to assessment to and customized agent design setup, system integration testing, and training and handover post-launch. That a very basic agent can start from even 18,000 USD. And that can give you, if you go for this agenting approach where throughout your organization, you can have a big saving. On your right, you can see a table that in different departments, bringing AI agents can improve the efficiency of your workers, your human workers, roughly 2.5%. Very basic, very understandable, I think. That's not any a big goal. And still with that kind of 2.5% of efficiency increment, you can see massive savings in your different departments. Here's our contact information. Just before saying goodbye, I would say that there are some videos that I will play after saying goodbye. I won't be here for answering any further questions. If you have any questions, you can right away ask. And we will keep this bridge open for a short while, and we'll play some videos about AI agents. If anyone wants to stay back, most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asif and Heather, for a lovely session. And we will keep this, as you said, we will keep this window open for any chat as well. If you have any questions, please feel free to write it to us, and we will respond back shortly. Thank you, and have a nice afternoon.